Yeah, I'm just waiting for the image to pop up. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. Okay. Hello and welcome to the Space Between Ideas. I'm Blaine Gates. Welcome to another fabulous and interesting edition, and we will continue the things that we have been talking about. If you are new to this channel, on the Space Between Ideas, we are focusing mainly on thinking tools, thinking methodologies. And I've been thinking about what are thinking tools and thinking methodologies. So I watch a fair amount of YouTube and I listen to people that I think have a message that I'm interested in. And when I listen to those messages, then I try to understand them. Particularly, there is this thing, it's called what is it called? It's like a domain of understanding. I can't remember the exact technical term, but basically when you hear some information, you need some kind of connection with information that you already know. And so when you're listening to people that you've listened to for a very long time, then what you notice is that you start to understand the framework which they are using and discussing. But then suddenly they have a discussion with somebody else who, they're bringing up new topics, or they're speaking in new angles, or they're using jargon. And this is the opposite. Oh boy. This is the opposite of my channel. I try to be jargonless. Why and what? What does it mean to be jargonless? I think that sometimes when we use jargon and when we use conceptions that most people don't understand, then it's like it distances you from the audience. And sometimes we wonder, why is it that people generally use stories? The reason people use stories is because those are things that people can understand. Stories are something that everyone can understand. If we think about the concept of a parable is a story that literally everybody can understand at their own level. And that is something akin to thinking tools, thinking methodologies. The reason I teach using thinking methodologies and thinking tools is because it's something that everybody can use at their current level. It's something that everybody can relate to at some level. And it doesn't matter where you are in your business journey and how you are developing in your understanding of business methodologies and business concepts, using thinking tools will meet you where you are. And I don't need to use jargon. So where are we exactly? We've been talking about state purposes. Before we jump into state purposes, I just wanted to make a quick update. Remember, I've been doing this little research assignment where I have been kind of looking into this thing called 100 Tasks, 100 Task Startup. And there's like a website called www.100tasks.com. And nobody can understand 100 tasks in one video. Also, when you open up their website, you'll notice that each of the 100 tasks have a separate worksheet. You can see this is task number 29. This is task number 54. So task number 54 is build supply chain. And then look, so they have agile, lean. Here's lead time. Here's uncertainty. So going into each of these steps would be something that could be very beneficial, and also connecting with somebody who deeply understands all of these steps can also be beneficial. And if you go down to the bottom, you can see that actually, look, they have 20,000 companies have been using this methodology. This guy personally has helped 120 companies. And then he's helped companies in 60 different countries. So there you go. And it's an interesting concept. And as I kind of dive deeper into it, you have to find some starting point. There's always some starting point. You can't just and actually it's actually not that difficult to find a starting point, because your business is either in the startup phase, it's in the launch phase, or it's in the scaling phase. what I did was I wrote down all 100 tasks, and then I took away 75 of the tasks. Here's the 25 that remain. And then I decided to focus on the setup tasks. And I found that within the setup tasks, there's something called collect ideas and validate ideas. That's literally what I'm doing as a space between ideas, and with Create Crucial Insight, it's really about collecting ideas and validating ideas. That's why I became interested in what it is that they decided to talk about. And what I found is that they are talking about thinking methodologies. So over the last week, I spoke to quite a few people about these thinking methodologies to try to get a little bit deeper into these concepts. And I used their order. And what I'm finding is that their order is not necessarily the best order. In fact, their order is not that great at all. For example, I can see the benefit of like going into what are business models in general. So if you want to collect ideas for the kind of business that you're planning on running, then it could be helpful to jump into business models. So I asked our good buddy ChatGPT to help us with a list of business models, and it produced a series of common business models, innovative business models, and experimental or emerging business models. And the interesting thing is, so if you want to understand what does it mean to be a product-based? It means selling physical goods or digital products. The opposite of that is to steal digital goods or steal digital products. Take it. Sell it or take it. And then, we have service-based, offering services rather than goods. The opposite of a service-based offering is slavery or threatening somebody and forcing them to do a service for you. Then we have something called a subscription. So for example, like a gym or video streaming, ChatGPT, other types of software as a service, a car lease, rent. So you can see that as I've been talking to people, we've been breaking these things down into smaller and smaller parts in order to understand the various types of business models. The problem I found is that as we moved further through this process, for example, the next step, it says design thinking. And the question is what do you mean design thinking? So on the left-hand side, it says define the customer segment, understand their pain point, currently available solutions, figure out pros and cons, where is the opportunity, and then you come up with X. So this is one way to figure out what kind of business model that you want. Is it a product? Is it a service? And then how are you going to provide it to an audience? And you kind of go through this design thinking 101 circle in order to come up with some ideas. And then I spoke to quite a few people about Porter's 5 forces and trying to figure out what does that mean. I have this question about why did I cut the 5 forces model into 2 pieces. We started talking about 3 horizons, but it wasn't until I got to the very end, which is this 10 types of innovation, that I felt like, oh, wait a minute. So this is really interesting, because this tells me, in general, your business is 3 things. You have the way that your business is configured, you have your offering, and then you have the customer experience. This is really key to understanding how to improve a business, how to design a business. Now, over here, you can see there's something called a profit model. And the question is, do you want to understand a profit model based on so we just focus on profit model from the very top, like a business model. Here is our business model. Here are a variety of different types of business models. This is the definition of a business model. Here are a list of business models. And then let's go to design thinking. And I felt like, well, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. I would actually prefer if we start with this bottom one, because I feel like, customer development, that is going to be connected to this experience section. red ocean, blue ocean. So that is going to be probably, well, that's about what kind of product you have. So that's going to be in the offering section. The business model canvas. So I think that the business model canvas is likely quite complementary to the 10 types of innovation. You could probably cut out these pieces and put it into the business model canvas. So they're actually quite similar structures. This thing about 3 horizons, that's about future planning and thinking about what's going to happen in the future, particularly with your product. Then we have these Porter 5 forces. I would think that you'd probably want to understand your business model canvas before you jump into the 5 forces model. And then design thinking is like what I teach. That's the whole concept of create crucial insight is based on something about design thinking. And so there's really a big divide between, for example, a business model canvas type idea where you are cutting your business into 9 separate ideas, and then you can discuss those specific 9 parts of your business. Or if you decide to cut your business into 10 different parts, and then you can discuss those very specific 10 parts of your business. I feel like that is more of like, what is the structure of the business? What is the business? How can we improve the business? What is this? And it's like, what is this entity? What is this thing that we're creating? What is this thing that we're employing people with? What is this thing where we are providing a solution to people's pain points? And how is it organized? So it's the whole concept of an organization. Whereas the concept of create crucial insight, it is about endeavors. So if we jump back into the book, Create Crucial Insights, then you see that what we're talking about is potential, agendas, effects. These are the endeavor elements. These are the basic elements of anything that you decide to do in life. And it's almost like it's a cell, because the cells in your body, I have cells in my eyes, I have cells in my hair, I have cells in my skin, I have cells everywhere. I'm made up of cells. And just like a body is made up of cells, a business is made up of endeavors. And so it's really difficult to jump from something like, if you use this concept, then what you're doing is you can either use 10 types of innovation, or you could also use the business model canvas. And then you're going to go deeper. You have to pick one specific area. After you pick an area, that's when you can go deeper into one of these other thinking methodologies. Wow, it's Friday night here. And then after you go a little bit deeper into one of these thinking methodologies, eventually you're going to have some really specific element that you want to talk about. And that's where you are going to benefit from Create Crucial Insight, because Create Crucial Insight is going to help you go like with a magnifying glass even deeper into very, very fundamental behaviors that you will have in a business, but that can be applied in many different areas. For example, motivation. Like, where do you find motivation when you're jumping through these thinking methodologies? Nowhere do I see anything about motivation. This is more like, I don't even know how to have to think about it more. All right, so what have we done so far? Today's focus is going to be about this little section up at the top. So on the left side, we have purposes or motivations. On the right-hand side, we have facets. And in the middle, we have correlations. What does that mean exactly? Maintain or enhance wellness. If you are the CEO or you own some kind of business and you want people to have... All right, so let's go back to the Fogg's motivation model. Remember, in the Fogg's motivation model, either the job that you're hiring somebody to do is intrinsically motivating for them. It means it's something that they're passionate about, or it's a job. So they're good at doing it. They can provide the value, but they're not all that motivated to do it. Like, they'll do it if there's enough of a spark trigger. And spark triggers come in the form of these. Although this is also like, it could be a facilitation trigger, right? So for example, you could say maintaining and enhancing financial wellness is a core motivation for me. That's why I got into banking. Physical wellness is a core motivation for me. That's why I became a nutritionist. Emotional wellness is a core motivation for me, and that's why I got into psychology. And whatever education, learning is a core motivation for me. So I got into education. Or it could be like a spark. So why did you pick this job? Why are you working here? Because of the benefits, right? So if somebody has like a real need to maintain, they need to have benefits because perhaps they have something like a physical ailment. They have something that's wrong with their physical body. And so they're doing this job because they like the work, but also they need that spark trigger. They need to maintain their wellness. And this job provides them with the benefits. And after that, in the last video, we were talking about attaining certification or other recognition. When we use the word other, then it tells us that the first part of the sentence is connected with the second part. So in this case, we're saying that attaining certification is a type of recognition. If you get the certification, then you plaster that little certificate on your wall and you like being recognized. So if your company has some form of recognition. So if you're the salesperson of the month, if you achieve certain benchmarks, if you hit certain milestones, if you are able to complete your KPIs, if you have a deep understanding and are able to deliver on your OKRs. So all of these things mean that you are doing the thing which your boss wants you to do. And then if they have some kind of recognition system where your name is posted in a public space and they say, hey, you are the guy, or you are the gal, or how do you say it if it's like, anyways. Now the next one is enhance reputation. So let's just jump up to this motivation, correlation, and facet. Enhance reputation. Let's say that I have a core motivation to enhance my reputation. It means that I'm going to choose a type of work which will, in the eyes of the public, in the eyes of my social pressure community, in the eyes of my country, in the eyes of my family, in the eyes of my peers, that is going to say, like, sometimes you hear in Jewish families that like every child is a doctor or a lawyer. So by becoming a doctor or becoming a lawyer, your family's reputation increases. Or if you're in an Indian family, I guess these are all stereotypes, then you're going to have some kind of like IT, mathematics, science, core based desire. And if your child is able to attain some high level, then you're going to have a good your family will have a good reputation. What is going on? Oh, it's the neighbor's dog. All right, and then the facet. So the facet means, so look down here. So it says determine facets associated with purposes or motivation. A facet can be an entity, relationship, or activity. Correlate positively or negatively. There's a really good example in the book. If you go down to the hire a salesperson example, like exactly. So this is exactly what I was talking about. So for example, here we have the categories of purposes or motivation. On the left-hand side, we have maintain or enhance wellness. And then on the right-hand side, we have be covered by health insurance. Now on the left-hand side, it says enhance reputation. And what is the facet? It says gain credibility with customers and colleagues. The question is, if this is desirable for you, if this is a motivating factor in your life, in your company, in your business, then the question is, how is it? What are the things that you can do? And does your company give you the autonomy or give you a path and give you the opportunity in order for you to feel that you are gaining credibility with customers and colleagues? So as you can see, for each of these motivating factors, You can then talk about exactly what is going on in your employment contract and also what is going on in the way that the organization is managed and run in order to touch on these types of motivation and provide an opportunity that people are able to receive a spark trigger that will enable them to have more motivation and be able to get the job done. Thank you for joining me. This is The Space Between Ideas, and we'll catch you next time.